All right, I think we did it. My microphone is not muted. I'm here. Looks a little dark, but it's fine. That's what happens after daylight savings time, right? Yes. Welcome to another edition of Very Late to the Party News. I'm your host, John, the creative blue collar guy, and I know I'm wearing my glasses. You can see all my ring lights. See, there's one, there's two. You can see all my ring lights and my glasses, but it's fine. It's all right. We're here. I have beer. I don't know what you guys are drinking tonight, but yeah, it has been the Mondayest Monday to ever Monday, the face of Monday. But because I don't really have a very long introduction to get into before we get into what we're talking about. Yes, we do have Lady Marine, and happy birthday to, in your words, the best knuckle draggers. Make sure to eat your crayons. Happy birthday to the Marines. I should know the number. Steph, you can probably help me out on that one. I don't know. The 250th? I want to say 250th because I saw Max post about it. I know you posted about it. I myself am not a veteran. I know a lot of times people ask me because of the tattoos and different stuff. No, I'm not. And I try not to be, they always say everyone always has kind of those guys that are like, well, yeah, I would have served, but I was right. I got it. But I think I probably only know that from Max's posts, or maybe from yours, or maybe from both. But they always talk about how like there's always those guys that are always the like, oh, I would have served, but, and I'm like, I don't really have a good excuse other than the fact that when I was in high school, turned 18, was looking at graduation. I was a musician. I still am a musician, but I was 18. I was a musician. I was in a band, and at that point in time in my life, I had listened to a little bit too much of like Rage Against the Machine and like some of that other nonsense, and was very we'll just say I was a very, very different person when I was 18 and had a very different outlook on America and our armed forces and all of that. So no, I never signed up. I never served. People ask me a lot, and I think because of the tattoos, I go, no, not a veteran, just a musician. But yes, happy birthday to the Marines. And of course, tomorrow, happy Veterans Day to any and all of you that have served or are currently serving. I raise my glass to you and I take my hat off to you because, again, you are all much better individuals than I could ever be, and I sincerely thank you for that. But yes, we have got our friendly HVAC service technician to the north, Salmon Outdoors here. He is on call tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out while you are probably supposed to be working, or maybe at least like waiting to work. I'm not entirely sure. Yep, he is on call. Again, for the Air Force, don't like the taste of crayons, couldn't do the Marines, not be able, well, yeah. My dad served in the Air Force, and I know a lot of times they say it's like the Air Force is a big butt of the joke of military branches, but again, still at the end of the day, he served in some branch of military. I did nothing, but I don't know if I got smarter. I would just say I gained more of a proper respect for things. But definitely not smarter. Don't give me that much credit. So yeah, it's Monday, and we've got some a couple of different topics to go over today. This might be another short one. I don't know. This was definitely one of those days where I was really on the fence about, am I still going to do a show, or am I going to cancel last minute? So as my streams always are, they're always very unscripted, very unhinged, very, I don't know what I'm talking about. I have some bullet points and some notes and a couple articles pulled up here, but as I always say, I'm going to try to be more well prepared each week, and each week I'm not. Also, in previous weeks, Devin pointed this out to me, and I appreciate you, buddy. He's always giving me feedback when he listens on the replays. Previous weeks, I tried to have kind of like some lo-fi beats or kind of some music playing in the background here, but I've noticed that when I have music playing in the background and then I try to play any sort of other video clips or do anything there, it causes this like weird loop or this weird echo where it kind of plays twice and sounds weird. So I don't really know how to fix that. So you guys are going to have to deal with me with no background music. I apologize ahead of time. So basically what I've got here is I pulled up a couple of articles that some of them I've kind of skimmed through. Some of them I just quickly Googled because it was a topic I wanted to talk about. And I haven't even necessarily looked at the article, but I've pulled it up based on what's in my bullet points, and we're going to talk about it. So some of this stuff we might be reacting in real time together as I'm reading it and as you're hearing me read it. But I guess we could go with the kind of in order of how I found these stories. So this one, I always feel like all these stories pop up like the day after I do a stream. Like I do a stream and then the next day it's like, oh, that was a good one. I could have talked about that. So, and I've also accepted the fact that I think my channel is already shadow banned again. So I've moved beyond trying to avoid any sort of sensitive language that would get me shadow banned, because I think I'm already there. When I first came back, we talked about how it basically became common knowledge and was openly and publicly admitted how the Biden administration had been pressuring YouTube, Facebook, anything owned by Meta and all that to censor people. But that was more talking about COVID related stuff. But if I still throw around words like racist or Nazi or transgender stuff, I still think I'm getting shadow banned for those things. But whatever, it's fine. We're already there. So I can talk about this. About November 8th, published November 8th. That was just 2 days ago. I could have sworn I heard about this longer ago. Anyways, woman was basically kicked out of or asked to leave or removed from a Gold's Gym for complaining about someone claiming to be transgender using the women's locker room. Let me go ahead and pull this up because I realize I'm staring at my screen without sharing it. So then you don't have to completely look at my mug and my glasses with my ring lights reflecting in them. All right. And apparently this individual is a singer. I don't know who this is. We're going to get into it in the article, but this one comes to us from the New York Post. Singer claims transgender woman who beat ex-wife to a pulp preyed on her for days in women's locker room like a bedroom bully. The transgender wife beater who allegedly exposed their genitals in the women's locker room left gym goers, quote, humiliated, and is no woman at all, says the musician who went viral confronting them. Not with that big D, you ain't, said Grammy nominated musician Tish Hyman. I'm sorry, I don't know who you are, but Grammy nominated, good for you. Hyman, an out lesbian who moved to Los Angeles in 2010 to pursue her music career, posted a video Sunday of a screaming match she had with transgender woman Alexis Black at a Beverly Hills Gold's Gym, which was recently bought by the rapidly expanding EOS Fitness. Yeah, that looks like a woman, right? Yeah. Any sane, logical human being would look at a photo of this person and say, yeah, that's a woman. That's somebody that should be using the women's locker room, right? Right? I've already been canceled. It doesn't even matter at this point. Alexis Black, formerly Kyle Grant Freeman, was sentenced to a year in prison for savagely beating their wife. Notice they didn't say his. Very careful with the language. Black was sentenced to 1 year in an Ohio prison in 2022 after pleading guilty to savagely beating his. They said his. They used the wrong pronoun. New York Post. You're going to get in trouble. Savagely beating his then wife and breaking her jaw so badly she was rushed to the hospital for surgery. The 31-year-old, whose name at the time was Kyle Grant Freeman, also had a lengthy rap sheet that included a previous domestic violence charge, as well as convictions of drug trafficking and resisting arrest, all in Ohio. Sounds like just a stand-up citizen. Disturbingly, when Black transitioned earlier this year... Okay, hold on. When Black transitioned earlier this year, I'm going to refer back to the photo. Hold on, so I can zoom out a little bit. They're saying that this individual has transitioned. Well, I guess that's probably the mugshot from 2022, but still, give me a friggin' break here. When Black transitioned earlier this year, they chose to use their ex-wife and victim's first name, Alexis. That's not weird at all. You know who else did that? The members of Marilyn Manson. I'm not saying the members of the band Marilyn Manson were ever murderers, but it was this thing of like using a name from a popular model or actress who was dead and a serial killer. That's a weird thing to do. Use your ex-wife and victim's first name when you transition. Hyman, 42, said she began working at a Gold's Gym 2 years ago when she was 100 pounds overweight and loved the gym and the community of women who worked out there, which I guess now apparently this is a woman, Well, what do I know? She said her issues with Black began when she had requested the trans person leave the women's locker room after she felt them menacingly lurking over her as she got undressed. I'm traumatized now. I've been disrespected. I'm naked in front of men. I haven't been naked in front of men for 30 years, she told the Post. I'm a lesbian. The trans person, who is in the process of transitioning but still has male genitalia, allegedly responded by calling her a bitch. I'm looking at this whole huge thing and I'm like, what the heck is going on? Hyman recalled. The Bronx native and gym rat decided to start working out at the Beverly Center location to avoid running into Black again. She wasn't so lucky. The following day, while lounging in the sauna and discussing the harrowing incident with the 27-year-old woman, Black allegedly barged in like a, quote, bedroom bully. You're talking about me, bitch, they said, according to Hyman. She said she and Black proceeded to scream at each other until the staff came in to separate them, and she and the woman she was with each filed reports about the incident. This is the day he said to me, straight women like to see D in the locker room. So if anything, they're looking at me more than they're looking at you, Hyman said. Straight women like to see D. I'm starting to get lost here on who's who and the names and whatnot. I couldn't believe that. No woman could ever say something like this. Hyman added the gym did nothing to address Black's troubling behavior, with gym staff claiming they were required by law to let them use the women's locker room. California law says that businesses cannot deny anyone full and equal accommodations, advantages, facilities, privileges, or services because of their sex, gender, gender identity, or gender expression. Hyman said she then began trying to get the word out about Black's behavior and was telling as many women at the gym as she could about the alarming situation. She and Black had another post-sauna confrontation that required staff intervention, prompting her to post a video of the wife beater inside the women's locker room on her Instagram on October 26th. It's the worst to be naked in front of a man calling you a bitch, Hyman said, her voice cracking. The songstress now feared Black would beat the living shit out of her and was nervous to show her face at the gym she once enjoyed going to daily. The final straw came when Black allegedly menacingly again called her a bitch for the third time in a women's locker room, and she ran out and started screaming. She added that that's when she decided to post her now viral video. Stay out of the women's locker room. We don't want it, she railed in the video. She said following the filmed exchange, the gym had police remove both her and Black from the premises, and both of their memberships were revoked. Representative for Hyman said the gym subsequently called her to say her membership was under review, but has received nothing in writing. These gyms currently have 150 locations and plan to soon to open or buy 100 more. They did not respond to repeated requests for comment from the Post and has not put out a public statement despite heavy media coverage and widespread backlash over the outrageous incident. Footage shot by onlookers captured Hyman speaking passionately to gym staffers before she was escorted from the facility. Everybody's just looking and seeing me walk out thinking I probably did something crazy. She says Black denied any wrongdoing to TMZ Wednesday, which we all know TMZ is such a wonderfully accurate news source that we can all totally rely on. The truth in the moment is far from what she is purporting it to be. Literally every time that she's done that, I've had a woman in the locker room confronting me because of how aggressive she was towards me, says Black. And it kind of continues on from there. So, time for commentary on this. And before we get into that, let's catch up on the comments a bit. Yeah, so his ex-wife's name after beating her. That's insane. Especially not if you're especially not if you are actually transitioning and you're on the hormones and whatnot. Can't hurt the feelings of a wife beater. No. No. Hey, Jacob, what's going on, man? Good evening to you, good sir. Thanks for tuning on in. Good to see you as always. So yeah, this is one of those topics where it's like it's literally it's exactly what anyone who still kind of has a brain in their skull has been warning people about this whole time. You know, when the topic of transgender individuals using bathrooms and locker rooms of the gender that they identify as, it became one of those things where they're like, oh, well, you're just a bigot and you're just this and you're just that. Like, okay, fine, call me what you want. I still think it's wrong. No matter what, it's wrong. But this story in particular is exactly what we have all been trying to tell people would happen. That whether individuals who really do identify as transgender, and if they're going through the hormones and going through the surgeries and doing the thing, they still think they're mentally ill. They still think that they're off their rocker and it's whatever. But hey, you know what? Go do your thing. Go do whatever. Just don't put yourself in a situation where taxpayers are going to be paying for it. I'm not going to get into that any further, but you know what I'm talking about. So whether the mentally ill individuals who think they're born in the wrong body or using different bathrooms, different locker rooms, whatever, but this is a perfect example of how it creates the perfect loophole for people who are violent predators. And all they have to do is say, oh, well, I identify as, and you're not allowed to question it, because then all of a sudden you're a bigot and you're a hateful this, that, and the other. And, all the mean names, all the buzzwords, all the things that they, whatever, all the mean names they want to call you on TikTok and everything. It gives violent predators just like a carte blanche to be like, oh, well, I identify as a woman, so I get to go use the women's bathroom, I get to go use the women's locker room. And then they could just like prey on anyone, and you're not allowed to say anything against it, you're not allowed to speak against it, whatever. Even in schools, elementary schools, junior highs, high schools, all it takes is some smart ass kid, some teenager, be like, oh, I identify as a girl, and then he gets to go and watch his classmates like undress before PE or something. And you get all these people like, oh, what's the big deal, it's not hurting anybody. I'm like, this person is obviously a convicted, did it say they were convicted? I think it said they were convicted domestic abuse, a very abusive individual who is now, so, oh yeah, I'm transgender, I can use the women's locker room at the gym. And so, and it's like, no, like this is not okay. This opens the door to so many different things. And they have made themselves part of this protected group, this protected class, that like you're not allowed to say anything, because then they get to call you all these mean names. Well, guess what? A lot of us don't really care if you call us mean names, if we know that we're in the right. This is not a matter of opinion here. Like, I know that I'm right in my opinion on this, and that this is wrong. And if you tune in live and you're watching this, drop a comment in the chat. If you watch it on the replay, drop a comment. If you're catching this on Spotify after the fact, drop a comment. Tell me why I'm wrong. And I will, we can converse. We can go back and forth. I won't scream and shout at you. I won't call you all sorts of names. We can talk about it, but it's like, tell me how I'm wrong on this particular topic being wrong. Yeah, that's, I don't know. I think that's it's like the ultimate I told you so moment, but like you don't want it to be an I told you so moment. Like this one, at least, like nothing physical happened this time, but I'm sure there are plenty of other stories that either have happened or could happen or will happen in the future. And it's no, like it's an I told you so moment, but it's not, we don't want that. We don't want to have the I told you so moments. We want this craziness to stop before it gets to the moment where we have to just be like, I told you so. But yeah, I don't know.
And that's all I have to say about that.
So let's move right on along. So I guess I hit on that one just because it was, I think as far as the topics I want to talk about, that was the oldest one. Actually, I don't know. That article is only dated 2 days ago, and we've got midterm election stuff to go over, which was almost a full week ago, 6 days ago. Every time an election comes around, I am slightly optimistic, and then I'm always disappointed. I live in California. Can you blame me? Not like, can you blame me for living in California? Can you blame me for always being disappointed? Like I kind of go in optimistic, thinking like maybe this time things are going to change, and then they don't. But I'm also not the type of person where, I mean, I'm smart enough and I know enough not to put my faith in politicians or just human beings in general. So I read about the results. I see what happened. I see how people voted. I let out a sigh. I'm disappointed for my fellow humans for being so stupid. But then I at least move on with my day. Like, I don't let it consume me. I don't let it ruin my day. I don't let it ruin my life. But it really does amaze me how stupid people are. There, I said it. I am just weeks away from turning 40 years old. I have lived in California my entire life. I love California in a lot of different ways for a lot of different reasons. But also, I have watched throughout my life of the only place that I have ever lived, Democrats rise to the predominant leadership all the way from governor to mayor of all sorts of different cities and counties and areas to city councils to everything. Just basically now, if you live in California and don't vote Democrat, your vote basically doesn't matter because the state is so blue. Those of us that vote Republican are not offsetting the greater area of San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco, the bigger major city areas where just everybody's retarded. And I still can't quite wrap my brain around it because of the fact that Gavin Newsom was the mayor of San Francisco, and he destroyed San Francisco as a city. And then the brilliant residents of California saw fit to elect him to a higher office of governor of the entire state of California. And now he has effectively ruined California during his 2 terms. He survived a recall effort and being reelected during the normal election cycle. And I think it's pretty clear to all of us, any one of us that's, even halfway or even a quarter way paying attention, that he is going to run for president in 2028. And I pray that the rest of this country sees what a scumbag he is, because he has ruined my home state. And I cannot imagine a Newsom presidency. So the midterms last week, the only thing that was put up for California was a special election bill, Proposition 50, where the Democrats wanted to redraw like the district maps for the state to basically try to score 5 more congressional seats. And it's funny to me that now that it passed, because people in California are retarded. Also, I'd like to point out that both myself and many other individuals that I know did not get the notification on our phones that our ballots were received or counted until almost 24 hours after Prop 50 was called as being passed. This has been an ongoing trend in that every time there's an election, whatever I desperately don't want to pass or to go through or to win or whatever is usually called within a matter of minutes of the polls closing. And it's really fascinating to see that there was a time where you had to actually go physically into the polling place, and they'd give you your ballot, and you'd go in, and you had the little like paperclip pin thing, and you would like punch the thing and whatever, and you turn it in and this stuff, and they would count the ballots, and they would have results within a couple hours, if not the next morning or whatever. So now everything's all mail in. You can drop it off. You can do digital. You can do whatever. And some states, some counties will call elections within minutes of the polling places closing. And then others will take days and sometimes weeks to finish counting their ballots and declare who is the winner of whatever. And it's I'm not one of those big ones to be like the election denier and it's rigged and it was cheating and it was whatever stuff. But it just kind of makes you go, huh, interesting. Like, how is it that back in the days of the paper ballots, they'd get everything be all counted up and we'd have our winners that night? And now it's anywhere between elections are called minutes within the polling place closing, or it takes weeks for them to finish counting the votes. Like, which is it? Which is it? So Prop 50 passed, and that was in response to what Newsom and other Democrats are calling Trump's attempt at rigging elections and trying to cheat. And I can't help I can't help but kind of laugh a little bit and wonder, like, so you're trying to say that other states are gerrymandering, and that's wrong. So then he's like, oh, well, they're doing it, so that's wrong. So hold my beer. We're gonna do it too. And then they do it, and then it passes, and then they go, oh, see, yeah, we stopped Trump from cheating. Now he can't cheat. And it's like, but didn't you just stack the deck so that California will pretty much just be I mean, it's already blue anyways. It's already blue. But hey, Gage and Corey, what's up, brother? Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I don't know if I have an article talking about that, but there was definitely something talking about how like the Prop 50 and the redistricting was somehow racist and not something. I don't know. Everything's racist now. If you don't like something, it's just automatically racist. Yeah, exactly. That's what they always say. If you don't like something, you don't agree with something, it's just racist. That's all there is to it. This is to get back at Trump for Texas. Yeah, and that's what this article is talking about. So Newsom went and like rallied in Texas with his win. I think it's going before the I think it's going to go before like California Supreme Court. It's going to go before some kind of court because they are saying like the way that they redrew the maps is somehow unconstitutional and that like they didn't consult any sort of board or committee or anything. They just had somebody redraw the maps and like this is what it is, and they lobbed it out there. And the problem is this was a special election, and I don't know if this is like a thing that happens across all many great states or what, but in California especially, people do not show up for special elections. Like it's really depressing. This was a big one that like people really needed to show up and really needed to lob their vote out there for this one. People in California do not show up for special elections. I think that's why Newsom survived the recall effort, because I think people just didn't vote. I think people just didn't care enough. But it's like it got enough signatures on petitions to use the tax dollars to have the recall election, and then people didn't show up at the ballot boxes. So on Twitter, voters want a bipartisan group to redraw the district lines, but voted for this. They are retarded. Yes, that's exactly it. People in California are retarded. This is an accurate depiction of the average California voter.
And you know what the worst part of all is? I never learned to read.
All they know is that if it has a D next to it, they check that box. So Newsom tells Texas crowd taking back House is, quote, the whole thing for Democrats in 2026. California governor celebrated Proposition 50's redistricting victory, going on the road to Houston on Saturday. This is the guy who is he's never been punched in the face. He has the most punchable face, and I guarantee he's never been punched in the mouth. I'm not saying I support political violence, but I'm just saying that as he was coming up, as a kid, as a teenager, like I don't think he was ever punched in the mouth. California Governor Gavin Newsom told the crowd in Texas Saturday that Democrats winning back the House of Representatives in 2026 is the whole thing. He continued to ride high over the weekend, 4 days after California's Prop 50 to redistrict the state's congressional map in favor of Democrats passed in a landslide because Californians are retarded. I can say that because my channel's already been shadow banned and it doesn't really matter anymore. Newsom also couldn't resist taking a jab at his frequent foe, Donald Trump. How are they even foes? Trump's going to be done with his term. Like after this term, Trump cannot run again. They're not going to run against each other. Like you are not like, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. It really hurts me how dumb people are. And this is even coming from Fox News. Like you think Fox News would know how to write a little better, but whatever. I mean, I guess governors and presidents can be foes. I don't know, but it's just so dumb. He is a historic president, however, historically unpopular. Do I need to pull the map up again? Let me pull up the map. 2024 election map. Not AMP. Sometimes I'm slightly dyslexic. Let's Yahoo, you suck. 2024 election map. All right, here we go. I did this last week too, just because it's fun. Let's see if I can pick one from like a credible source. I don't know if I'd say ABC is credible, but it's good enough. Okay, so what was I just reading? Historically unpopular president. Let's take a moment to review last November. Let's just take a look at that. I'm just going to leave that up there for a second while I check the chat here. Just to get back at Trump, Texas. I saw on Twitter, the one bipartisan. Yeah, read that one. Yeah, just be normal and average market. Yeah, the problem is that I wouldn't run as a Democrat, so Californians wouldn't vote for me. I would like to believe that, but I don't. I don't feel like Vance is very popular with the moderates and the middle of the road people. I think Trump kind of won people over in this last one because sensible people kind of realized that he wasn't the devil they thought he was, and then also they saw the decline of Biden, and then when they pulled Biden and shoehorned Harris in there, people really knew that Harris wasn't it. But I would say JD Vance versus Gavin Newsom, I would be worried that would be a bit of a closer race, unfortunately. I hate to say it, but I'm just being honest that I think that would be I think that would be a closer race. They would see through my shtick in a minute. I wouldn't be able to keep up that facade. But yeah, he's like, he's a wildly unpopular, historically unpopular president. Look at that. I'm not going to go through here and try to pull up the history of like election maps over all the different presidential elections and everything. But I mean, that's pretty massive for him to sit there. Oh, he's a historically unpopular president. Yeah, get out of here, Newsom. I can't even listen to the guy talk. Like when I talk about him on the stream, I cannot bear to pull up video clips of him talking. I can't listen to him. He's like a Batman villain. And it's just like his gravelly voice, and he can't talk without saying every other word. And it's like, you are not only a politician, but a public figure and someone who does press conferences and is in front of a camera, and your life is in front of, the public eye. You got to go to Toastmasters or something and learn how to, get some public speaking lessons or something. But like, you're going to be the governor of the state of California. You got to learn how to give a speech without saying every other word. Oh, well, yeah, we know the answer to that, but you can't reason with retards. Oh, I wish I had the clip from. I'm gonna have to put that on my list of things to do this week. Get the clip from Tropic Thunder. And he's like, I spent a lot of time like hanging out with him, spending time with him, just really getting like talking about. It was like getting into character, and you never go full retard. You don't come back from that. So along with Prop 50 California, Democrats also won gubernatorial races in New Jersey and Virginia, and Democratic Socialist. I was hoping we were going to get to this, and it's all in the same article, so I don't have to keep looking for it. Democratic Socialist Zohran Mamdani handily beat Democrat turned independent candidate Andrew Cuomo. I mean, really, he didn't have a chance. He already got ousted during COVID and all of his like weird abuse stuff that came out about him. What was he even doing running? I don't live in New York, so it doesn't affect me. I can't vote there. But it amazes me how stupid people are. Democratic Socialist Zohran Mamdani handily beat Democrat turned independent Andrew Cuomo in the New York City mayoral election. In New York. Now, granted, there's a lot of people out there who are old enough to vote who were not alive when 9/11 happened. But like the Mamdani getting elected mayor of New York City is just like the ultimate like I have no words. There's so many like this is one of those things that I was going to kind of make like a mention, a little aside about this, and we're going to kind of leave it at that. I'm not going to get too far into the whole Mamdani thing. So, but like, I have no words. I literally have no words for this in that This is not a matter of racism. This is not a matter of, oh, you just don't like non-white people, you don't like whatever. Like, this man hates America, does not hold American values, does not hold American citizens' well-being as a priority. This is all part of a planned takeover. This is all part, like, it's I just, but New York City of all places, like, I think it was Tim Pool that posted it. It was like a screenshot of a screenshot of a screenshot type of thing, but it was like the two towers on 9/11, and then this guy getting elected mayor, and they're like, it's official, New Yorkers have forgotten. And then Tim Pool added, he goes, no, they didn't forget, they've been conquered. And I'm just I'm at such a loss for words on that one, because it is of all the cities in America to, like, just, I can't. I'm about to open the whiskey behind me, because that's just like, I have no words beyond that. Far worse than a wolf in sheep's clothing. Oh yeah, when they're just like out in plain sight and people still vote for them. It's like, commie. That's enough for me to not like it. Yeah, yay, commies. Yeah, and Devin would know. He lives in Canada. I can't tell you how many times. So Salmon Outdoors here and I, we chat quite a bit throughout our work days when we're supposed to be working, and there's a lot of times where I send him stuff, like I see a meme, a reel, a post, or whatever. Like, I'll send him something, and he's like, I can't see that, because he's in Canada, and they literally censor like what you can see. There's one particular like news station or news profile or something that I follow, and I've just learned that if they post something that I want to share with him, I have to screenshot it and send it to him, because if I just send him the post on Instagram, he's like, I can't see it, because Canada, because censorship. So, whenever somebody is like, oh, it's not really that bad, I'm like, it is. Like, maybe it's not that bad in America yet, but it's that bad in Canada. It's that bad in the UK. It's that bad other places, and it's coming for us. Yeah, it's too bad. I liked, and that's for the most part, it's pretty,
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
But honestly, I think he might agree with you, though. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like California. There's a lot of really beautiful areas of California, but I freaking hate living here at this point, because I work full time. I've got a semi-successful side hustle. I feel like I make pretty good money per hour for what I do and for my like level of knowledge and experience, and I'm still just like, it sucks living here. I'm never going to own a house here. I'm never going to be able to buy a house in California. Yeah, I knew you'd agree. No, Roman, it's not secret, but I am pretty sure I'm shadow banned, because I keep using all sorts of words like racist, retarded, and gay. Which, speaking of which, welcome to the show, Roman. Thanks for being here. Yeah, no, you guys agree. It's funny. I don't know. I think he's racist, retarded, and gay. But no, it's not secret. I've had to like directly send the link both to Salmon Outdoors and Lady Marine each week, because they say they don't get the notifications. So even though they have the bell set to notifications, they don't get notified, because I'm shadow banned for saying all of the words that you're not supposed to say on YouTube, because I just don't care anymore. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, Mom Donnie. New Yorkers have not just forgotten, they've been conquered. Prop 50 was a response to Texas legislature redistricting its congressional map in favor of Republicans over the summer. On Tuesday, after Proposition 50 passed, Newsom called on other Democrat-led states to follow suit. So let's talk about this again. Prop 50 was Redistricting. Response to. I thought it was. Oh yeah. Prop 50 was a response to the Texas legislature redistricting congressional maps in favor of Republicans over the summer. So California did this to basically say they think what Texas did was wrong, but then we did it, and now Newsom is calling on other Democrat-led states to follow suit, but then saying that Trump is the one trying to cheat and rig the elections. Make it make sense. Blair, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah. Exactly. This is what I've been saying for weeks leading up to this. Like, gerrymandering is wrong. Hold my beer. It must be stopped. So we need other Democrat states to do it because it's okay when we do it. Yeah, it's just like two wrongs don't make a right, Mr. Newsom. He went on to say, we need to see other states. They're remarkable leaders that have been doing remarkable things. Meet this moment head on as well. If I hear or read the phrase meet this moment one more time, like that has been his catchphrase since 2020. Need to meet this moment head on as well. I wonder if he was meeting the moment when he went and had dinner at French Laundry while people's loved ones were dying alone in nursing homes. That's a way to meet the moment, right? He said in a late night news conference on Tuesday, we can de facto end Donald Trump's presidency as we know it. No, you can't. Not unless you can actually find legitimate grounds to impeach him, which no one has yet. No, he's not a convicted felon. That's why he's not in prison. The minute Speaker Jeffries gets sworn in as Speaker of the House of Representatives, it is all on the line. I just need to meet the moment, Corey. And yes, now that both Roman and Blair have joined, happy Veterans Day to you all as well. I kind of gave my little spiel when I first started, but yeah, to you guys, thank you for your service and sacrifice for our great country that is just kind of crumbling beneath us because of the gerrymandering that's going on all over the country. But, you know, he continued his celebration on Saturday, telling the crowd there were lines around the block 2 hours after polling had stopped because people wanted to be heard. It's interesting because Prop 50 was called as having been passed less than 2 hours after the polls closed. Not just seeing. They wanted to send a message. There's no more important race in our lifetimes. Why is every election now? Why is every single election the most important election of our lifetime? There's no more important race in our lifetimes than the House of Representatives, and yet every election in the last couple of years has been the most important election of our lives. Taking back the House, getting Speaker Jeffries sworn in next November. It's the whole thing. Of course, you know, if this is Newsom speaking, I'm sure he was saying, he's like, Jeffries sworn in next November. It's the whole thing. It's the whole thing. Someone got a Google notification the day before that it had passed. Nothing to see here. Yeah, I didn't get one quite that early. That's pretty extreme. But last Tuesday night, I checked, and I don't even know what time did the polls close. 8 p.m. I think, maybe. I checked my phone just before going to bed around 9. Like, it was like 9 o'clock. It was definitely before 9:30 that I just checked and was like, oh, I wonder, you know, what are the results, whatever. And it's like, Prop 50 passed. And I didn't get the notification that my ballot had been received or counted until the following afternoon. And like I said, nothing to see here. It's been that way for a long time. Elections are called and it's like, well, hold on a second. Like, the polls just closed like 5 minutes ago and you guys counted everything already. Like, meanwhile, like, Nevada's taken like 3 weeks to count up their votes. And I don't know. Okay, we read that little paragraph. And so that starts today. We can shape the future here in Texas. We can shape the future all across the South and across the United States of America. You have that power. Trump and GOP have spearheaded an effort to pad the party's razor-thin House majority to keep control of the chamber in the 2026 midterms, when the party in power traditionally faces political headwinds and loses seats. Missouri, North Carolina, Ohio have drawn new maps as part of the president's push. I haven't really done much research into this yet, but I do recall reading something about how Florida is considering doing something similar, which would add 5 congressional seats for Florida, which would basically just kind of offset what California just did, which if they did that would be absolutely amazing. Nope, we read that one. Now that I have no representation, can I stop paying taxes? Asking for a friend. And it's interesting too that while they say that the government has been shut down and a lot of government employees are not getting paid, I checked my pay stub the other day and I noticed that taxes are still coming out of my check. So whoever is in charge of taking the tax money from my hard-earned money is definitely still doing their due diligence to be on the job and be on the ball and take my money. But then, there's people out there that are apparently not getting paid because the government is shut down. I still see money coming out of my paycheck. What do we got? Let's talk about, let's see, how we got the election map, blah, 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 da, da, da. I honestly don't even really care to actually open any of these articles and click on them. I just wanted to kind of pull this up as a show of like, just when you Google a headline, and you probably can't read that because whatever, but this popped up on my phone, I think, sometime within the last 24 to 48 hours. There was all these headlines and all this stuff like Trump caught snoozing during discussion on sleep and obesity. California governor says dozy dawn is back. The Washington Post says a closer look at Trump's apparent struggles to fight off sleep in the Oval Office. Some other weird sources, but just like all these headlines talking about images of Trump appearing to close his eyes during Oval Office. Can we harken back just a little over a year ago, year and a half ago, 2 years ago? The amount of times that we saw stuff like this with Joe Biden. Biden appears to nod off at whatever. Joe Biden looks like he's falling asleep. Joe Biden looks sleepy. Joe Biden's having trouble walking. He's having trouble speaking. He's having trouble stringing sentences together. If the man is really, truly in cognitive decline, which I do believe he is, I'm not trying to make fun of Joe Biden. I'm really not. I honestly, I don't like the guy. Obviously, I didn't like him as president. I don't like him, whatever. But I'm not going to sit here and, make fun of an elderly man that is in cognitive decline. But the amount of times that we saw pictures and headlines and things that were like Sleepy Joe Biden, whatever. And then all the, Kamala Harris and all the Democrats, all the people all come, oh, no, he's still sharp as a tack. He's still sharp as ever. He's great. He's wonderful. He's going to run for a second term. Everything's fine. And now literally almost word for word, I swear, I feel like it's almost word for word, the same headlines, but it's CNN, it's the Washington Post, it's Trump looks sleepy, it looks like Trump fell asleep, whatever. It's like, do you guys not even see that you're literally posting the same headlines, but a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever, it was, oh no, it's fine, he's sharp as a tack, he's great, everything's fine. Biden was literally brain dead. And yeah, and then didn't he get diagnosed, I think, with leukemia or cancer or something? He has a major health issues. And again, I'm saying, I'm not celebrating it. I'm not wishing bad things on him. But it was obvious. It was apparent, especially after the debate. That was bad. The debate was so bad that it's just let this man retire. I blame his family, honestly, at that point, where it was his family kept parading him out there, and Biden's family kept, putting him out there. Oh, he needs to run for a second term. He's our guy. He's the man for the job. And everyone thought they were going to stick Newsom in there at the last minute, but I think Newsom is enough of a slimeball businessman to know that anyone that came in at 0 hour wasn't going to be liked. So he let Kamala jump on that grenade, and he just sort of sat back and he's like, I'm going to bide my time until 2028. So, they're going to put Newsom in there. No, he's like, Newsom knew. He's like, no, even if they pull Biden, he's like, whoever they put in isn't going to win. And people aren't going to like the fact that they got voted in without a primary. So he knew what he was doing. I don't like the guy, but he's probably kind of smart. He knows how to be a slime ball. So yeah, he let he threw Kamala under the bus and was like, I'm just going to wait. Damage done from the administration is incalculable. Trump sleeps like 3 hours a night. He's a machine. It was apparent back in 2020. Yeah. I would almost put his family up on like elder abuse charges. He had no business running out his first term. He especially had no business even thinking about or attempting a second term. What do we got? Okay, so we already went over the election results, read that one. This one probably won't take long. Let's talk about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which is such a joke at this point. I always forget which one wants me to subscribe. Is it Rolling Stone or Billboard? Let's just click on one and see what happens. At this point, I've kind of forgotten that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame even exists, but because it's one of those things that's on my radar every once in a while, it comes up and goes, oh, they had the induction ceremony. And I went, oh, it sounds really sad and depressing. Chappelle Roan celebrates bold and badass Cyndi Lauper after Rock Hall induction. The headline alone says everything. That's like, there's something about women, and especially women like in like these industries where it's like film and music and whatever. It's like they can't just celebrate each other. They always have to use all these different words like, oh, bold and badass, stunning, brave. Yeah, it's acting like this is the first woman to be inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like, get out of here. Stevie Nicks has been inducted both as a solo artist and as part of Fleetwood Mac. I mean, I think last year when Cher was inducted, she made some quip about, oh, it took so long for me to get inducted because you guys hate women. It's like, there's so many women inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Stop being a victim, stop acting like you're special, and stop acting like they don't induct women into this museum. That is now such a friggin' joke. I mean, I think like NWA is in there. I think they inducted LL Cool J, Missy Elliott. There's been, I don't know if they got inducted or not, whatever, but there's the year where it was like a German electronic of something Kraftwerk was a nominee, something like, stop calling it the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You can call it the Music Hall of Fame and we won't push back and we won't argue with it anymore. Just call it the Music Hall of Fame. But calling this the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame at this point in time is such a joke. It's not even, it's not funny. It's not funny anymore. I don't know if it was ever funny, but it's definitely not funny anymore. Chappelle Roan says she was honored to play a part in celebrating the pop legend. Pop legend. There, pop legend right there in the headline. It's in the freaking headline. Who has played an instrumental role in my artistry, fashion, glam, voice, movement, and all of it. Movement. When am I not mad though? Really? Like I feel like I wake up mad, I go to bed mad. That's not true. Not really. It's only a little bit true. But just anyways. I'm sure you are. Salt and pepper got it. Oh yeah, that's bad. That's really bad. Yeah. Is this just going to be just all about her? I was hoping there's going to be more. I don't want to read this article if it's just about the one. Okay, let's find another one. 9 best moments. No. Okay, fine. Let's try this one. Billboard 9 best moments. Nine best moments from the 2025 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And if ads would stop popping up and my screen would stop refreshing. And I feel like I say this every week. I've tried using ad blockers, and everything I try to pull up and read, it's like, you can't view this website with an ad blocker. So I apologize. Make a drinking game out of it. Like every time that they mention something about their movement or social justice or something stupid. Just every time they say something stupid, gotta make a bingo card out of it or something. And ads are continuing to pop up. Let's see if I can actually read this. From Outkast's blistering performance to Cyndi Lauper's moving display of solidarity. Neither one of those things are rock and roll. And yet this is in an article about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Los Angeles Dodgers weren't the only winners in town this week. Returning to the City of Angels for the first time since 2022, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ushered in a new class of inductees during its 40th annual induction ceremony, Saturday night, November 8th. Welcome to the second best thing to happen in Los Angeles in the past week. Blah, blah, blah. Skip a bit, skip a bit, skip a bit. Beamed live on Disney Plus, The Rock Hall honored Bad Company, Chubby Checker, Joe Cocker, Cyndi Lauper, Outkast, Soundgarden. I'll agree with that one. The White Stripes in the performer category, Salt and Pepper and Warren Zevon for musical influence, and then a bunch of other stuff that's not worth reading. Yeah, we're getting there. Yeah, we're getting there. But I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised in the slightest. Many of the 2025 honorees were not in attendance, maybe because everybody realizes this is just dumb at this point. It's not. I don't even really feel like it's that much of an honor. Forget how long ago it was. It was within the last few years. Dolly Parton was put on the ballot to be voted in by the people. It's like an open public ballot. They put names out there. People can vote. Dolly Parton was on the ballot a couple years ago to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Dolly Parton contacted the museum and said, while I'm flattered for the nomination, she said, that's not my genre. Would you please kindly take me off the ballot? And they were like, oh, they've already been sent out. People already get to vote on it. And she said, okay. And she got voted in. And she graciously accepted, but she tried to go to them and say, like, no, like, I am not rock and roll. I am country. She's country through and through. And she's like, no, like, take me off the ballot. And they're like, we can't do that. It's like, all right, well, if I win, I'll graciously accept, because she's a class act like that. And she did. But she tried to tell them, like, no, I'm not rock and roll. Yeah. I think the criteria is you had to have released your first commercially successful album or single 20, it's either 20 or 25 years prior. So basically, bands that released a commercially successful album or single as recently as the year 2000 were eligible this year. Yeah. Many of the honorees this year were not in attendance. Skip. Declined to the White Stripes, Jack White reference her and even dedicate. So I haven't watched the video. I haven't read the statement. I don't really care. I hate the White Stripes. I hate Jack White for a lot of reasons. With the White Stripes, the duo Jack White and Meg White were inducted. I have read that apparently Meg White has just sort of chosen a life of obscurity outside of the public eye. But Jack White showed up to receive the award, and it says that he referenced her and even dictated part of his speech to her. His former bandmate, Meg White, did not attend. At 84, Chubby Checker was still doing what he does best and passed up his induction to keep a regularly scheduled paying gig because he probably needs the money. Though he delivered his acceptance speech from the show before going into a shortened version of his biggest hit, The Twist. And of course, he has multiple different versions of The Twist. After initially hoping to attend and even reunite with his band, Bad Company, lead singer Paul Rogers pulled out for health reasons, but there's still a dazzling amount of star power in the room. Let's continue. The evening got off to an electrifying start. I don't need all the fluff. I don't know. Roman said something about the Cyndi Lauper thing being vomitous. I don't think it's in here. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, but I am not going to dig too deep to try to find it. Salt and pepper. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Olivia Rodrigo, don't care. Outcast, get out of here. Sentimental Journey. Cyndi Lauper, here we go. Cyndi Lauper takes us to church. Well, now I have to read it. After being inducted by Chappelle Roan, Cyndi Lauper provided the evening's most emotional moment during the beginning of her performance, singing True Colors with the stage bathed in rainbow colors. There you go, Roman. She stopped the song and simply held her fists in the air in silence for at least 30 seconds in solidarity with the Alphabet Mafia. Stunning, brave, doing the thing that everybody supports and will cheer you for. It was a stirring, heartfelt moment before she asked everyone to turn on the lights on their phone, adding, "There's a community of light. Don't forget that if it gets really dark." Don't forget that if it gets really dark. Before segueing into Time After Time, with British singer Ray, her performance felt the loosest and most relaxed of the night and was joined by Avril Lavigne and then Salt and Pepper for a jubilant Girls Just Want to Have Fun. In her acceptance speech, she thanked those who came before. "I know that I stand on the shoulders of the women in the industry that came before me, and my shoulders are broad enough to have the women that come after me to stand on mine," she said, adding, "The little kid in me still believes that rock and roll can save the world." Again, it's like she's acting like she's the first woman to be inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Skip. Don't care. This might really make me angry, but let's look at this. Soundgarden reimagined. The members of Soundgarden were joined by the Pretty Reckless Taylor Momsen, which, if you guys don't know and are not familiar, that was Cindy Lou Who in How the Grinch Stole Christmas with Jim Carrey, all grown up, who has performed with the band a number of times over the last 6 years or so. And I'm sure she was a lot better than that large black woman that performed with them earlier in the year and tried to crowd surf and fell flat on her face when the whole crowd split like the Red Sea when Moses parted it. For a howling, bone-rattling version of Rusty Cage before Brandi Carlile joined for a driving take on their signature hit Black Hole Sun. Like Momsen, Carlile has played with the band several times, including at a Cornell tribute concert in 2019. How great it would be to see the two women trade off lead vocals at a full Soundgarden show. Taylor Momsen, solid. Yeah, that's fair. But I did a stream, I want to say it was earlier this year, where I can't remember her name. It was a very large black woman that played with them under the pseudonym of Nude Dragons, which is not acronym, but what's the word when you like scramble the letters? I'm not smart enough to remember right now off the top of my head. That one was really bad. That was bad. Yeah, thank you. You're much smarter than I am. Thank you, Devin. I don't know. I felt that way about Alice in Chains for a long time. But because it's the only option now, it's like either see the current rendition of the band or see nothing. I have seen Alice in Chains in their current lineup live twice. And William Duvall is very good. I don't particularly care for their newer albums with him, and it's not speaking to his talent or anything. I think it's just that overall the songwriting is very different because they're all older. But live, when they play the old stuff, man, when they do Man in the Box, all that stuff, William Duvall does a very good job. I'd say Alice in Chains is a band that they managed to find a singer that it doesn't sound like he's trying to sound like Lane, but he does it justice. Board game called. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it's not to say that they couldn't find someone that they could continue on with, but whatever they've been doing, it ain't it. Trade off, blah blah blah, and I think that's about all we need to talk about there. So this one, I don't really have like a set article pulled up for this. I know we've all seen the memes, we've all seen the video clips, the the Sydney Sweeney GQ interview. When I was at work today, I pulled up the interview and listened to it. It was about 20 minutes long. I mean, I'm sure it was edited down. Obviously, they probably sat and talked longer than that. But you're going to be really upset with me, but I have no idea who that is. That's why I kept skipping over his name. But you're older than me and you have a crappier taste in music than I do. So, you know. Yeah, so I don't like, I kind of have some headlines pulled up here, but whatever. I don't necessarily need to pull up any one particular thing. We can just kind of get our own discussion going here and what you guys think about it. But I listened to the whole Sydney Sweeney GQ interview today. And first of all, I just got to say, in the comments on the YouTube video, like on the official, I still have no idea what you're talking about. Somebody needs to take Grandpa and get him back to the home. I think it's past your bedtime because I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. Yeah. So on like the GQ YouTube page, the comments did not disappoint. I mean, we've seen the little snippets, we've seen the little clips, we've seen the memes. The woman interviewing Sydney Sweeney the whole time, her body language is so awkward. She cannot maintain eye contact. Well, the entire time that Sydney Sweeney is just deadpan, unwavering eye contact, like will not budge, and just like staring daggers through this woman the entire time. But it's like wow, like this whole interview like played out like a meeting with HR, or it was like, oh, you know, this woman is acting like she found pictures of Sydney Sweeney on her husband's photo reel 15 minutes before the interview, and like she's totally putting off I hate that girl vibes the whole time. Just like the whole thing, and the entire interview, the entire thing is just built around trying to get her to apologize for the American Eagle ad, which I still think is hilarious that people are so bent out of shape about a jeans ad. She literally brings up the American Eagle thing and was like, oh, you know, were you really like shocked at the response of it? She literally just looks at her and says, I did a jeans ad. Like, what do you want? Like they were trying so hard to get that gotcha moment. They're trying to get that sound bite. They're trying to get that clip. And the whole time she's just like, no, shut it down, shut it down, shut it down. It's basically just saying that as a celebrity, as an actress, as you know, somebody who acts in movies, whatever. She said, she's like, I don't think it is up to me to tell other people how to think. And that's it. There. That's all you need. That's the only soundbite you need right there. Is an actress said, I don't think it's up to me to tell other people how to think. And she continued to go on and on about how she keeps her personal life very personal. She keeps her private life very private. She doesn't put her private life out there. She surrounds herself with a solid group of friends and family and people that she's known since she was a kid. Says when she's at home, her phone is off. She doesn't get on her phone. She doesn't doom scroll. She doesn't see the stuff. Says when she does turn her phone on, she sees it and she chooses to ignore it and whatever. But it's just like, she's not just like on her phone every day like some of these people, like James Gunn. Like James Gunn is one of those ones, apparently, like if you piss him off on Twitter, like he will respond to you and make an ass out of himself. And she's just like, no, she's like, I turn my phone off and I spend time with my circle, with my people, and that's that. I think it was Kurt Russell that many years ago said something to the effect of we are essentially court jesters who are here to entertain. So our job is to shut up and entertain. I even think I just saw something earlier today. I didn't save it or clip it or anything, but I guess Billy Bob Thornton was on the Joe Rogan Experience recently, and he had a similar sentiment where he's like, who the hell wants to hear, a celebrity, an actor, a musician, or whatever, talk about politics, whatever. He's like, it's not our job to tell people how to vote, how to think, how to whatever. It's like, no, like, you are entertainers. Your job is to entertain. And when the entertainers realize that, I gain a little more respect for them, because yeah, exactly that. I mean, like, I still cannot understand. I still cannot wrap my brain around how or why or what happened to where, like, Taylor Swift has reached this level of celebrity where she is like celebrity royalty, that if anyone dare speak ill of her, they receive death threats and people just attack you and go after you and everything. But her whole thing was like, she endorsed Joe Biden. She endorsed Kamala Harris. So it's like she's on, in their mind, the right side of history, the wrong side of history. But it's like she says and does all the right things to appease the woke mob. But as we all know, you can never be woke enough. You can appease them for now, but eventually they will find something, and eventually they will come for you. But you can ride that wave for a minute. You can ride that wave where it's like you're royalty, you're untouchable. People will send death threats to anyone that dare say that they don't like you, but eventually they will find something about you that they don't like, and they will come for you. So to the Sydney Sweeneys, to the Kurt Russells, to the Billy Bob Thorntons, to the celebrities that realize they're like, we are entertainers and we are just here to entertain, my hat is off to you. You get it. You understand the mission. You understand that we don't care who you vote for. We don't care what your personal thoughts or beliefs are on anything and stuff. And actually, in reality, we really prefer that you don't tell us, because we are reaching a day and age where it is harder and harder to separate the art from the artist. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not a fan of cancel culture. I am a fan of consequences. FAFO, F around, find out. There are consequences to actions, but no, I am not the type of person that says we need to go dig through somebody's Twitter feed and cancel somebody. No, I'm not a fan of cancel culture. I'm not about that life. But I can, as a personal individual, can choose to no longer spend my hard-earned dollars on whatever your art is if I think you're spewing all sorts of retarded nonsense and it's getting really annoying listening to it. So yeah, yeah, I mean, Jake is kind of retarded, but he takes after his old man. I kid. I love you, buddy. They were trying to do a struggle session. Sydney was like, yeah, it's like the whole interview was just like they were trying so hard to get the gotcha moment, and it just it doesn't it drives the liberals nuts that, like, she won't apologize, she won't back down, she won't bend the knee. I liken this a lot to Gina Carano. The only difference is that unfortunately Gina Carano did get canceled and did lose her job and did very much lose her livelihood. But this whole situation is so much more satisfying in the fact that the left is just like angry that Sydney Sweeney exists, and yet she continues to rise in popularity and continues to get work in movies, TV shows, ad spots, commercials, everything. It's like she's not going anywhere. She's not going away. She's not getting canceled. They can't silence her. They can't, well, I guess they can't silence her because she's not trying to like speak up about any sort of like causes or anything. But it's like the fact that they can't make her go away, but they can't make her apologize is so infuriating to them. Yeah, you should try tagging him and some stuff. Because I've seen some stuff where James Gunn gets pretty unhinged responding to fan backlash on Twitter. Give it a shot. Give him a tag. Still yet to watch the new Superman movie. I'll probably watch it eventually, but we got into spooky movie season, so we're trying to watch all the horror movies. Now we're sort of like in an in-between phase. We'll start watching Christmas movies soon. Oh, talking about things you should watch, though. Let's talk about something that's actually kind of happy, sad, good, whatever. The John Candy documentary called "I Like Me." It's on, I think it was on Amazon Prime. Watched that last night. That was really, really good. Because apparently John Candy just had this reputation for being one of the most beloved individuals in Hollywood. Like everyone they talked to, they had Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, Steve Martin, Martin Short, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, all those guys. Everyone, they just he was very well loved among his peers, and just everyone said he was the most authentically and genuinely nice person in Hollywood. So yeah, the John Candy I Like Me documentary on Amazon Prime, definitely check that one out. That was good. I think I got to do a John Candy marathon leading up to watching Planes, Trains, and Automobiles for Thanksgiving. Dancing Monkey has no better view on politics than a restaurant server, doctor, construction worker, electrician, or any other person actors perform. They should do it quietly. And yeah, we all have our own rights and freedoms to our own opinions and how we vote and how whatever, but it doesn't mean that any one of us knows any more than anyone else. What it comes down to at the end of the day, it's all opinions. And we all have the right to vote how we want to, and you don't get to tell somebody that they're wrong. I can tell you that you're retarded for voting differently, maybe, but again, that's just my opinion. New Superman is worth a white stripes amount of your time. Yeah, that's fair. And to be honest, I was never like a huge Superman fan to begin with. Anyways, I always liked Batman a lot more. I thought his story arc was always more interesting. Just at its core, like not even talking about like the quality of movies and TV shows, whatever. I just thought like the story of Batman was always kind of more interesting than Superman. But yeah, and then yes, cheers to that, to the old Edmund Fitzgerald. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on today. The 250th anniversary of the Marines, the anniversary of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Tomorrow's Veterans Day. There's a lot going on this week. I did see the scene where he like bursts into the room with like Lex Luthor, something about like, where's the dog? And oh, what dog? It's just a dog. And it's like, wow, this is the dialogue that they came up with. And how is it that the guy who made the best movies that had come out of the MCU in many recent years managed to make such a god-awful movie in the DC cinematic universe? Like to really be completely honest and objective, Guardians of the Galaxy movies were the best thing that the MCU has put out in a long time. And yet somehow that guy went and made just a dog shit Superman movie. I don't know, man. It's wild. But I think okay, this was Guardians proper vibe. It does not work. Yeah. Superman doesn't fit his style. Okay, that's fair. Yeah. Probably won't spend too much time on this, but here's something worth talking about because it is a topic I like talking about. I like talking about it and I don't like talking about it, but I'm kind of passionate about it. AI generated country song is topping a Billboard chart, and that should infuriate us all. I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of different people about AI, and I recognize that it's part of our lives now. There's no changing that, and it's not going anywhere. I understand that. Me not liking AI is not going to make it go anywhere. Me not using AI isn't going to make it go anywhere. Yeah, I thought the same thing. But much like anything else, you always get the people that try to be like, oh, money is the root of all evil. It's like, no, the love of money is the root of all evil. Money is neutral. Money is like anything else. It's a tool. Depending on how you use it, it can be good, it can be bad. This thing I have right here, my phone, my smartphone, it is a tool. This is an inanimate object that is neither good or bad, just sitting here on its own. but depending on what I choose to do with it can make it good or bad. It is a tool. AI is a tool. You can use it for good or for bad. This is bad. AI generated country song topping a Billboard chart. And I've talked about this before. I see this stuff all over Instagram now. I see I've seen stuff where it's like the movie trailer. It's an AI made movie trailer that's made to look like a Pixar movie, but it's poking fun at like the whole Epstein's Island type of thing, or what different stuff like that. Stuff where I see these videos where guys are reacting to like, oh, take take the Tool song Sober, but make it sound like 1960s soul and what is it, and it sounds like a band and like a person singing, and it sounds believable. And it's like these are the moments, these are the types of generative AI that are so dangerous, mostly to the arts, because first of all, who owns it? Like when you're it's coming down to like a copyright issue. Who owns it? You put something out, and you could say, oh, write me a song in the likeness of Zach Bryan. And so it's an AI generated song that sounds like Zach Bryan, but like, can Zach Bryan sue over that? But it's AI. So who created it? Who owns it? It's kind of like maybe a little bit of a weird, I'm gonna bring it back around. It's gonna make sense, but it's gonna be a weird connection. When the Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee tape leaked out onto the internet and was getting sold and spread all around the internet and everything, at the time that happened, being able to share and sell videos on the internet was a very new thing. It was very new technology. It was a very new, it was a whole new ball game. And I remember, like Pamela Anderson tried to go before any sorts of lawyers, courts, judges, anyone stuff, and just be like, hey, like, this is our private thing. This got put out there on the internet. What can we do about it? And all these guys, all these, so-called legal experts were like, we don't know what to do with this because this is such a new thing. Like, they didn't know who stole the videotape. They didn't know who was distributing it. But the fact that it was on the internet and being distributed, they didn't know how to deal with it because it was such new technology and new ground to cover. They were like, well, we don't know who to sue or who to prosecute or who to, like, we don't know. So same thing with this AI stuff. Like, how do you, who owns it? Person that typed the words into the algorithm, the person that posted it. Like, I know the whole time that the SAG-AFTRA and all the actors in Hollywood and people were having their strike, a lot of it was a bunch of nonsense and stuff. But one of the things that a lot of the Hollywood workers were worried about, the writers specifically, was, are we going to get replaced with AI? And to that, I would say, if AI is writing better scripts and better shows and better plots and better premises, then maybe they should lose their jobs. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not about that life. They were trying to just say, like, hey, how do we know that we're not going to get replaced with AI? That you're not just going to, like, oh, hey, like, write me a Netflix series, write me a movie script, write me a, Critical Drinker's having an issue with this. Someone is using an AI version of his voice. And see, that's another thing, that some of the earliest stuff that I personally started seeing on, Instagram and stuff just being shared freely was just like audio conversations. There's one that I saw where they just put it to some random video that had nothing to do with the audio or whatever, but it sounded like a conversation between then President Joe Biden and Donald Trump, but it was like a very calm, civil, productive conversation. So you knew it was fake, but it was AI, but it was very believable. And the very first thought, kind of just like what you're saying right there, Roman, my very first thought was, you could use this shit to blackmail people. I know that's maybe not entirely what's going on there, but like you're saying, this guy's having an issue where someone is like replicating his voice using AI and whatever. But like, if you really wanted to blackmail somebody, you could be like, oh yeah, here's this phone conversation and stuff. And how do you prove that it's fake? How do you prove that it's AI? Now it's writing music. I one of the things I read years ago was that people were like feeding Stephen King novels into AI to train it. Can you imagine that? Like AI learning from The Shining, from Pet Sematary, from it. Like, that's terrifying. And I noticed too, like when you Google, I mean, I don't know if there's a set. I need to look at this. I don't know if there's a setting on my phone to turn this off, but if I do a Google search on my phone, the first thing that pops up before any actual like articles of like, oh, here's something from the New York Post, here's something from CNN, here's something from Fox News. The first thing is like, here's your AI assistant response, whatever, something. Sometimes it's accurate, sometimes it's not. But what I think, and this is my own theory, and let me just get my tinfoil helmet here on. But I think sometimes AI gets things wrong on purpose so that people will correct it, because every time that people correct it, then it learns. AI one's a Trump, Biden, and Obama playing Call of Duty. Those are pretty funny. And then, yeah, they're going to make them all. They're going to make AI a bunch of soft libtards. Yeah. So it's a scary world out there. You can't believe anything you see on the internet anymore, especially the videos. Anytime you see anything that's like oh wow, that's so crazy funny video, it's probably AI, it's probably fake, especially if it has to do with animals. You can't believe anything anymore. I feel like we've been saying that for a long time, where it's like you can't believe anything you read on the internet, but now we've officially reached a place where you can't believe anything that your eyes see or anything that your ears hear anymore either. Like, and it's a really dangerous place to be, because we're at a time and place where critical thinking is at an all-time low. People will believe anything they see or hear or read, if they can read, which most can't. I need to make an AI of Roman and teach it.
I love this moment so much, I want to have sex with it.
Oh, man. That's good. But anyways, I think that's about all I have for you guys tonight. Yeah. So what do you guys think about all of this? So we went over quite a few, many different topics. But yeah, fun stuff. Appreciate you guys all hanging out, though. I do love just coming on here and ranting and venting. It just kind of feels good to get this stuff out there. No, the show is not a secret. I have moved my Monday time. I know it's a bit later. It's a bit later than I normally go on, but since I've been back, I've been trying to do every Monday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Gives me time to get off work, go to the gym, have dinner, shower, do all of that. Because before I was kind of doing it backwards. I'd kind of do the show and then shower, eat, all that, whatever. So now it's like I come home, I go to the gym. I'm trying to make better life choices as I'm sitting here drinking a beer. Go to the gym, have dinner, shower, get all that other stuff out of the way. Then I can come on here, hang out for as long as I want to hang out. And whenever I'm done, I can either go straight to bed or I can go watch something and then whatever. But no, I'm fully confident that I've already been shadow banned once again, because I'm not shying away from words like gay and retard and racist and all that fun stuff. But if you're new here, thanks for being here. If you're catching the replay, thanks for watching. If you are returning viewers, I'm going to go through the chat here in just a moment and thank all of my returning viewers and friends for being here. If you are watching either on the replay or if you're catching me on Spotify, thank you for being here. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. You could tell me that I'm totally full of shit and I have no idea what I'm talking about, because you'd probably be correct. But if you do want to catch me live, be in the chat, be here to, roast me and tell me, right as I'm sitting here live in front of my computer, what you think of me. Every Monday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, set it to all so you get notified when I go live every Monday. Otherwise, I appreciate you catching the replays and watching on Spotify. Thank you so much, all of you, for tuning in. We had Lady Marine, and happy 250th birthday to the Marines, to you. Don't forget to eat your crayons. Salmon Outdoors, tuning in while he's on call at work up there to the north. Cajun Corey, always good to see you, brother. And of course, we had Roman of the Empire and Blair to Blair. Happy early Veterans Day to you both. Thank you again, both of you, and Steph as well, even though I think she's gone by now. But thank you, all of you veterans, for your service to us. And Jacob Ironside, of course, couldn't forget you. You left a comment in here that where did it go? I missed it. I know I saw it. Still upset with AI art and AI graphic design. Yeah, I won't touch it. I won't mess with it. But yeah, like I said, it's AI in a lot of ways can be a tool depending on how people want to use it. I personally don't like it, and I'm going to be pretty outspoken about it when it comes to music and art and other things of that nature. But yeah, thank you, Jacob, and everybody else for being here. But I believe that is all I have for y'all tonight. I will see you next Monday. You guys enjoy the rest of your Monday night, however much of it is left. Have a great week. Cheers.
Be excellent to each other.
This has been Late to the Party News. Make sure to like and share this video for others to see. Subscribe to the channel and set notifications to all so you get notified every time we go live or post a new video. Thanks and good night.